Hello.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we?
Hello.
Oh, good. How are you going?
Good. Not too bad. I've had a bit of a funny morning. I fell down the stairs. My cat was sick. Yeah, it was fun. I made it. I didn't tell you that. I
Tell
didn't
me
tell
the
you that I
cat
fell
didn't.
down the stairs.
Tell me the cat didn't throw up on your keyboard.
No, she threw up. She threw up in my bed, and then she threw up down the stairs, and then she threw up in the
Nice.
kitchen. She's okay.
Oh,
She's been at the vet, but
that
it's just
sounds
been a fun
horrible.
morning. Anyway, how are you guys?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I
My
didn't fall
morning.
down.
Oh dear. All right. Well, I thought that we've only got one entry this week for the weekly drills, but I think it's a great idea for us to give it some time anyway, because
Mhm.
you know they've made the effort to join in, so it would be good to give them some screen time and some review time. And then yeah, what you guys were wanting to talk about the future of the weekly drills and how we're going to use this space from now on.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Do you want to do the review first, or do you want to chat first? What do you want to do?
Let's do the review first because I don't know how long the chat's going to take.
Cool. All right, let's get it started. Well, so this week's weekly drill was Soul. So this was our entry. A lot of fun.
Oh, it's cute.
Yeah, I like this one.
I know.
They
Super
did a really
cute.
good job. But I actually like the one thing I like the most is I like the process. They did a really good job of sharing the reference and the process of this. I was looking at this earlier this week. They got the slide bar you can kind of go through.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah. So I mean, you don't have to go full 3D. Hey, like you can be just as
exactly.
successful with the 2D approach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the weekly drills, right? It doesn't have to be just asset creation. It can be 2D imagery as well. So no, I think that's fantastic. It's done a really nice job, stylized to the theme, and yeah, I mean, awesome.
Nice one.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Turned out really well.
Yeah, so she's just sort of talking through a process of how she got it done and her reference images as well. Really cool, like idea and theme. Like I think, Sia as a character is quite interesting. So popping that onto a little soul character is wicked. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Leave it on here. So yeah, I guess in terms of feedback, do you have any? I mean, 2D art's not our forte, but we can sort of.
I personally don't have any feedback on this one because the one thing I really liked about it was literally I like that it's 2D. I like the process of it, but I like that there's composition to the presentation. Like it's like obviously they're left justified and they're pointing towards the right, so it's not like they're doing that smart. There's a nice color balance. The hands like kind of being blurred and then having those little tile. It feels good.
Nice.
Like I really don't have any critiques on that because I feel like they did a really good job. Like I guess I'd have to be a little more specific. I haven't. I'd have to pop back to the movie to be, or even pop up to a reference to look to see, like the hair strands. Could we go a little bit more? Could we like pop a little bit more? No, yeah. There's no, yeah. So like, yeah, the fluffiness works great.
But yeah, so it's sort of a similar vibe. Hey, they've managed to replicate that style quite well because you can see the hands have that little glowy effect. And stuff like that. Like the eyes are pretty prominent, the features are prominent, but everything else is quite glowy and quite soft. Let me just go backwards and forth between. Yeah, I think maybe the glowiness might be a little bit overkill. Just a tiny bit, because if we're looking at the reference, some parts.
I think the fact that you can't see the eyes, which is the harder edge stuff on that character, just makes it feel, when you look at it, it feels all a bit too soft. But because there is no focal point for your eyes apart from the hand with that sharp edge. But if you'd had the, like the eyes there, maybe it would have brought your attention back to that. But
see, it has no eyes.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe the mouth could have been a focal point in the bow, or the hair, maybe.
Right, yeah, maybe.
Pick one part.
Yeah, just to bring it back. You're right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But very
so
nice.
There's your winner, first, second, and third place. Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you want to bring up the drills for this week? What the weekly drill is for this week, Christina?
Yeah, where would I find that?
Just go up the top and hit discover, and then just scroll down a little bit, and there you go.
Okay.
There's the weekly drill.
Steampunk compass.
So this is the theme for this week. So yeah, really looking for that steampunk sort of theme. And just having some fun with it. Again, the whole point, like we talked offline just before we come on, the whole point of these weekly drills is really to get people prepared for industry, right? So when you get into industry, you're going to be doing asset creation, these background sort of props and props that you're probably not even going to see either in a film or in a game. They're just secondary assets, but the time frame that you have to be able to turn these around have to be quick, right? You'll get hundreds of these, where you'll just get a list of assets, and you've got a week to turn them around, and you're trying to get in that week. You're trying to get them as realistic or as stylized or whatever the theme is as possible. And really meeting these deadlines is critical to gaining trust for further assets later down the track, and getting the respect of the people, your leads and your HODs, to be able to go, okay, I can nail these types of assets really, really quickly. If you struggle with this sort of type of work, then it's gonna be a hard fight to be able to get assets that are more complicated, or hero characters or hero assets, right? So this is a really good opportunity to be able to really hone those skills, focus on it, get it pumped out really, really quickly. So the steampunk compass is a really good asset to try and do something cool this week. And I think, I'm going to carry on talking for a little bit, but for this session, what I wanted to do was just sort of change gears a little bit and just talk about rookie awards. There's been a little bit of confusion with people entering into the rookie awards, and I just wanted to clarify some of those areas. Can I share screen here, Christina, on my side?
How would I do that?
I'm going to just try to share screen, and I'm going to do that. Share. Does that allow? Just tell me if you can see.
Here we go. Yeah, I think that's working. How easy was that? That's so good.
Is that sharing?
I can see what you're doing.
Yeah, awesome. So what I wanted to do quickly today was really just run through creating an entry for the rookie awards. We've changed things slightly this year, where you are limited to the number of entries that you can enter into categories, right? But essentially, when you enter into a category, you have to have a tailored entry for that category. And then if you want to enter into another category, then you have to resubmit a new entry that is tailored for that category. So what I mean by that, and I'm just going to go through, and I'm just going to go into contests and just create a quick entry for that. So you can see here, we've got Rookie Awards 2021. I'm going to enter this contest. And then, for example, say I want to enter into game design and development category. So it's really important to just have a quick read of the brief for this category. There's a little video here which explains exactly what the judges are looking for. So take some time just to look at and read over the information here. Now, if I'm 100% sure that my entry is tailored for game design and development, that's when I'd come through here and go, okay, I'm going to submit an entry to this sub-contest, which is game design and development. You can see here, now I'm going in and I'm creating an entry for this. Now, I'm going to go through, and maybe I want to add some images, so I can, with this add image, I can add a couple of images. Maybe I'm just going to add 3 here, so I can just drag and drop quickly into this little widget, and you can see I've got my 3 images. Now I can reorder them here. I can go back and do that later. Once I'm done, I just hit the done button, and you can see that my images have appeared there. I can either go full width, or I could keep them narrow. If full width will make it go what it says, full width in my browser when I go to view that. I prefer the narrow view personally. And then after that, Jay, are you typing?
No.
No, that's okay.
And then once I've got my images, then I'm going to go through and I'm going to add some text, because I really want to be able to tell the judges, and this is critical. Like we've seen a lot of entries already where people haven't even added any description, and it's just a bunch of images. So, you know, for something like this, you know, you might want to put down, you know, how long this, you know, render took to create, you know, from concept through to final render. And really, I'm just going through and adding a bit of a breakdown of what I did on these images. You know, maybe I lit them, I rendered them, I did the full thing, or maybe I've just textured it or did the groom on it, whatever it is. But you need to write down a bit of a description, exactly what you've done for it. This doesn't have to be an essay. It just needs to be a bit of a breakdown so that judges, when they see it, they go, oh, cool. This entry, this person that entered this did the whole from concept art through to final renders. That's pretty amazing. And then you can go through and add some additional sort of tools that we have on the sides here. So maybe you want to add the process view. Now this is a great one for our judges, a favorite one for our judges to be able to use when they're judging. Again, I can reorder that. I can go done. And, you know, for a judge to be able to go through and just review how topology sits on the base mesh and see how the lighting works. And you can add up to 5 images here. Be creative in this space. You can add animations. You can do, you know, this type of overlay, whatever it is. But, you know, it's a great one for judges to be able to review work. Again, I can add another description here. Add more text. You know, this has got, so, you know, whatever the topology count is, how many maps I used, whatever it is. So a bit more of a description there of what you've done for that. We've got a new Marmoset Viewer here as well. So we've got Sketchfab as well as Marmoset. So you can embed your 3D into your entry as well. Also, if you've got, you know, like a Vimeo link that you want to, if you've got your show reel, then you can just basically copy your Vimeo link, drop it in here and embed it. Now, if you're creating, if I just go create another Vimeo video here, if your entry is part of a film festival overseas, and, you know, you're part of a group-based project, and you've got this short film and it's not meant to be publicly shown there, then you can still add your Vimeo or your video link, YouTube link here, but add a password. And what that does is basically public facing will not be able to see this, but our judges will have access to the password and be able to add that password and still be able to rank or judge your entry. So that's just something to note there, just if you're worried about public seeing your video. You can see I've added the Vimeo video there, and maybe I want to add a Sketchfab link there as well. Again, I would take my complete Sketchfab link, as you can see in the example on there, and just paste that in there again, hitting enter, and this might be just showing off my asset a little bit better, you know, just another level of presenting your work. So just going through, and again, being really proud of your entry. You got to make sure, you know, thinking that this is going to be reviewed by recruiters, you want to make sure you've got your details and your description, treating it a bit like a portfolio as if you were going for a job interview. You know, you want to have your best work in here. Like I said, if I'm entering into the game design and development category, all this work that in here would be tailored towards game design and development. I can add old projects from, you know, last year or the year before, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be any unique or new work specifically for the Rookie Awards. This is really taking your best work and adding it in here. So you could have multiple projects. It doesn't have to be just one project. It can be multiple projects that are stacked into this one entry. So once I've done that, I would hit continue. It's going to take me through and just, I'm going to add my header image. So I would just, you know, again, I would just drag and drop that into that area, and I can reposition that image. I can, you know, focus, zoom in, whatever I need to, hit done to make sure that that accepts that change. And this is my game, you know, dev entry. So just name that, add a bit of a description. Again, what software you've used. Maybe you've used, you know, Substance, Painter. Make sure, yeah, you're just using the correct naming there. So maybe I've used Substance Designer, I've used Maya, whatever it is, and tag. So maybe this is character, art, whatever. You can just go through and select game character or whatever into these. And you can use the same image as your cover image, which would be the one that features up the top. Gone through. Now at this point, I can save it as a draft, or I can preview it, or I can continue and publish. Right? Once you publish your entry, basically it locks it down and notifies the judges that you are now submitting your entry, and judges can now go through and rank and score your entry. We have judges on there from day one that are going through every single entry and reviewing the work from March the 7th right through to the end. If you're not sure and you're like, you know what, maybe I'm going to add a project later on, then make sure you go through and save it as a draft. This will save it. Oh, I just need to add a description in there. Save it as a draft, and then you'll have the ability to go back and be able to edit your entry at any point. You can see edit there, or I'm going to edit media and add more stuff in here. So that's just something to be really mindful of if you want to add stuff later down the track. You can delete your entry here. If maybe you're not happy with it and you want to start again, then you could delete. You can keep going through, and now once you're ready, then you can publish your entry. Now, if I wanted to go through now, I don't want to save this, or I don't want to publish it, but if I went back, you know, I've created that entry, and now I want to do another entry that is part of, maybe it's concept art and illustration, then I would do exactly the same process for that, right? And I can come through and create an entry for that. Actually, I'm just going to go back. Let me just go back to there. I will. So edit details. I'm going to continue. So I'm going to continue. So I've actually continued on this process, and this is the one step before I publish. So here you can see I've got this this entry now. Because I've already done an example of this before, it's grayed out some areas, but this is where I go through and actually select game design and development. And what it does, once I've selected game design and development, it blanks out everything here because it says you've reached your maximum selection for this entry. Then I would go through and create another entry and select, concept art and illustration, for example. I can still come through at this point and still select career opportunities and use this as my entry for that as well. So maybe I'm interested in Ninja Theory internship. I can come through and select, the gaming internships that maybe I'm interested in and eligible to enter into. So you can use that one entry to enter into multiple contests that are not part of the Rookie of the Year categories, okay? So just be aware that you can still enter that same entry into these other areas. Yeah, that's kind of the main thing that I just wanted to show people today, and just make sure that they're aware of that entry process. So I'm going to stop sharing there and bring that back over to the guys that are probably fallen asleep. So yeah, and yeah, just to reiterate on that entry, making sure there's good description. The judges get really frustrated when there's an amazing entry there of beautiful renders, but there's no description or no sort of breakdown of what that journey has been to get that final render. And a lot more people would move into higher scores if they just had that simple breakdown and description added. And it goes back to, even if you're submitting your work to a studio, you need to be able to explain exactly what you did for those final renders or show reel or demo reel.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that's the kind of stuff too that, like, when I talk to, like, sometimes I'll talk to people that are like, have questions about their submissions, or I'll just look at people's submissions to give feedback. And it's like, the biggest thing is, don't be shy. Like, I feel like the more that you can kind of like let people know about who you are, but you don't have to tell them your life story. Like, you can get a little from a lot, or so you can get a lot from a little. And then being able to show like your process and the reference you gather, the software you're using, what inspired you, just keep it nice and clean. Like, those are things that it doesn't matter how good you are with the software, you can do that without being good at the software. And that's just going to be a nice habit that you will always consistently take forward with you. Because I feel like, a lot of people don't realize you're going to have to submit your work for these things called dailies or stand-ups or, milestone reviews. And so you got to get used to actually submitting your work and not just showing the final content. You have to show it throughout the way. So,
yeah, exactly. So I mean, for us for weekly drills, we can talk a little bit about that now, I guess, now that I've covered the Rookie Award stuff. I think, before we jumped online and went live, we were discussing the sort of the format and, just being able to make sure that we've got some really good themes that people are happy with. We want to be able to sort of promote, some of the people that are doing a great job on those weekly drills, whether it's through resharing on our social media or just giving a bit of a shout out. So, Christina, did you want to talk more about what you'd sort of like to see with the weekly drills?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've obviously noticed that they've dropped off a little bit. So we want to, I guess, we all got together and thought about, all right, how can we get, more involvement? So I mean, obviously we spoke about some topics, giving them a little bit more flexibility with what they choose to do. We're gonna, I believe, stick to the 1 week time frame. And I mean, also, I mean, a part of this is also hearing from the artists as well and sort of going, all right, what do you guys want from this? Would you like us to run, weekly feedback sessions on work other than weekly drills? Like, would you like to maybe pop in some of your work that we could run? I know that for the combi van, I did some feedback reviews and that was really helpful. Maybe some work in progress shots for your rookies entry, if that's allowed, Alan, or personal work. So even if there isn't enough entries, we want to be able to still use this time slot for something useful. And so if you guys, have questions and have topics that you want us to talk about, I think it would be a really useful time slot to be able to do that. Because, we're all in the industry. We can, hopefully help answer some of those questions.
Yeah, I think it's a really unique opportunity. We've got Christina here who's, years of experience in visual effects and doing some great things. And we've got Justin who's Epic Games and been doing amazing things for years and years, to be able to get this sort of direct feedback from industries, it's pretty, it's pretty rare that you can, have access to that. So really, if you're trying to break in, then you should be, using this time wisely. And if it was me, I'd be putting my work up there every week. We do get some people that do that, but it's already been noticed, the ones that are really pushing on this. And
we know who you are. Like, we remember you. Like the ones
exactly.
that every week.
Christina and Justin are in contact with recruitment teams, and we've already recommended some people that are part of the weekly drills that we go, this person's doing amazing work. You should get in contact with them. So there's opportunities outside of just actually the feedback sessions themselves. It goes much deeper than that. So I think we just need to make people aware of that.
I think the key for us is we're just going to be consistent. And I think and a big thing that we weren't aware of, when we were aware of, is, it's not an excuse, is there's the time change from Chicago, where I am, and there's the time change from Adelaide, where you guys are. So that was a massive time shift. Ends up being 2 hours or later. So, the is a good thing. We'll always have the same time. Well, if there's not that many submissions, we'll still review, and then maybe you'll jump on and you have questions, or maybe we'll just talk about what we're working on. The goal is just to pop in, and it's, again, the consistency is key, but also your interaction is key. And I think there's a healthy amount of interaction that makes you seem like, you're working, but you pop in once in a while and you talk. And then there's the kind, and this is something else that we need to talk about too, is how to ask for feedback, and then how to take feedback. So that's not something else we'll be talking to, because that's a big thing about working in an industry too, is your daily stand-ups and dailies in general, and just the feedback you get from people. And you don't want to because we'll have sometimes people asking for specific feedback and they don't know what they're asking for. So when you're working on something, have an idea of, okay, cool, this is a trouble area for me. I didn't know what to do. Bring that up. Yeah, no one ever said we have to have finished assets. You can have something that you're stuck on that you submit. You're like, you know what? I got to this far. I didn't know how to tackle this.
Yeah,
could you
actually, Paulie's just put a good comment. You know,
yeah,
I think
that was a really good
on
point.
the Rookie Awards, which is fine. And you know, maybe we can use these sessions for people that are joining today. You know, like for the next few weeks or whatever. If there are low weekly drills, to post their links. From the Rookie Awards, and we can run it like a daily session where it's that quick sharp feedback, and just potentially help people with their entry into the Rookie Awards.
Yeah, so definitely join the Discord, get in contact with us, and if there's something you want us to review or something particular you want us to talk about, get in touch.
Yeah, like even Andy, as a beginner, I appreciate the weekly drills. If you've got stuff, man, just post it in the chat. People should be able to post links of their rookies, portfolio or piece of project that they're working on, and we can treat it like a bit of a dailies, right? Boom. Okay, this is missing. Next. Like really kind of introduce that industry standard of how dailies are done, right? It's quick. It's
And then the other thing is I'm just thinking out. I mean, I guess like maybe that could be a whole other session. Is like if we have the rookies drills be, we're giving you the topic, you have the week to do it. Maybe we have like something where it's like once a month or something like that, where it's like a portfolio drill, or just review my work, and maybe we do like a fun little weekend where we have some of our judges come on and it's just a live stream, and we're just kind of like people pop on, people pop off, people pop on, people pop off, and it's just people like just sharing their links inside chat of what they're working on, and we just kind of like, all right, cool, yeah. The idea is like, I think it's beneficial for people, even if you jump on and you aren't having any work that you're submitting for the drills. I think it's also good to see what people like myself, Alan, and Christina are looking at in terms of critiques. Like, hey, what are we like? What are we noticing that we're like, holy shit, that's amazing? Or what are we noticing that's like, hey, I would have done this differently? Because those are things that kind of like take to heart. And I feel like the majority of the things that we always mention with me, Christina, and Alan is just making sure that you have reference and you're showing us what you're doing, because it's much harder for someone, especially when you're getting ready to do a job interview or whatever it has. It's hard for people to kind of see your thought process when you just show them a piece or like a couple. Here's 7 renders of my thing, and it's a beauty render, nothing else. So it's like, all right, cool.
How did you make that?
Exactly. And because the biggest thing about this industry, whether it's visual effects or games, is we want to see how you problem solve. It's not necessarily how well you know the software, because you're most likely going to have to relearn a new software that the studio has internally. I just want to see how you problem solve.
And that's a skill that's really hard to get as well. I think a lot of people struggle with that problem solving ability, and it's so important in this industry. Like a lot of the time at my job, I'm not painting, I'm not texturing, I'm just solving what the heck is going on, what's broken and why. And it's the ability to actually break things down and go and start from start and figure that out. So we can talk about those sort of soft skills as well that are important.
Yeah, it's even that comment, start from start, right? Like when you say that, like when, the troubleshooting process in your brain, like it is literally like turning everything off, going right back to the start, and then turning each thing back on to find out exactly what is broken, right? And it's like, it's methodical, and like there is a skill involved with that, and
not everyone has that skill. It's definitely
no, exactly, and it's you're right. It's like it's not everyone has that. You're right. But I mean, these are the sorts of and even we mentioned before we jumped online, Christina, about your process and this, the new job that you're going to, the interview process that you've gone through, how you prepared for that, what your mental space was, and your preparation around it. I think that would be really insightful for a lot of young people as well.
Yeah, I'd love to do like a topic on interviews and a topic about application processes and things like that, because having gone through that recently myself, as I've been in the industry for a while, going through it again was tough. I was nervous as all anything. So I'd love to share what I learned with people as well.
Yeah, awesome.
And then there's me. I like doing interviews. I think they're fun.
I usually find them a lot of fun, but when you have like 5 people pop up and like,
yeah,
but
like
even video interviews,
I'm a lot older.
Yeah, it's all
I'm
different.
a lot older than you. So it's like you get to a certain age, you just like you kind of lean into. I feel like the more comfortable you are with yourself, the easier our interview is, and the more that you come off sounding like you know what you're talking about. Yeah. Because it's not like I know everything. I'm like, I know exactly what I don't know.
As long as you're honest, as long as you're honest, you don't like
so
bluff
this kind of like levity. Yeah. And
like,
if I don't feel like I can do it, I'm going to be like, yeah, this is not probably for me. And then they might be like, well, maybe you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, they're people just like us, right? I mean, that's how I thought it. I just talked and talked and talked, and then I apologized for talking.
And at the end of the day, your work got you the interview, right? And the work kind of stops at that point. And what they want to see is like, hey, this Christina can communicate. She's funny. She's personable. She's got a sense. That's what they're looking for. They'll be asking questions, but really they're looking like, could this person work as part of the team and fits into our culture? And that's what the interview's about. The technical and the demo reel, all that is kind of finished. You've got that first step done. So it's an interesting, it's even preparing yourself for it mentally is, like Jay said, you just have to be yourself, and be honest and comfortable within yourself. But all great stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a session that we could plan a little bit later on as well. Mm-hmm. So sounds good. Thanks for giving me the opportunity just to show that entry stuff for the Rookie Awards. I think hopefully a few people have seen it and be able to watch the hello from Sweden. It's 5 a.m. Wow. Good on you.
So,
yeah. To kind of answer that question while we're here. I think that's a good one.
The good problem solving stuff is just, like you don't necessarily, like you could show like points of like, hey, I'm speaking strictly from like if you're making an asset, for example. Not only are you showing us the reference that you gathered, maybe some sketches that you did on top of it just to kind of figure out the different angles that are maybe how you would build it, then the block out to establish scale and the shape, silhouette, and like detail passes, but also just the wireframe and the shaded view and the texture view showed me what I need to know as well, on top of just I want to see your UV maps, not just the final, like I want to see the actual UV layout, because I'm curious to see how you're using the UV space, and hopefully you're not just pushing automatic, and maybe you're giving yourself some nice padding. And then tell me the software you're using, and then maybe even the bullet points of like, this is my first time using Substance, or first time using Mari, or whatever it is. Like it's again, we don't care if it's 100% finished. Yeah. The goal shouldn't be to win. The goal should be, I get that there's a competitive thing, but the goal should be, I did this. I'm putting myself internally on a schedule, because if you can't create an asset within a week, you're in trouble. Because you need to be able to turn stuff out at a faster rate. And a lot of people get in trouble when they have these amazing portfolios, and it's like, oh yeah, well that took me like 2 months to do. It's like, all right, next. I don't care how good you are. If that took you 2 months, you're no good to me.
In saying that as well, I think there's also an element of what challenged you. So like talk about, what challenges came up in the process. I remember there was one entry where she did a little sushi rice, and I was like, she spoke about the challenges of creating each individual rice grain, how she went about that, from start to finish. It's good problem solving to be able to go, all right, like what's the best way to do this in the time frame? And, the thing is, you're making these decisions every single day, especially when you get bigger assets as you start to build up the chain. You've got to think about, all right, I don't just think about the immediate problem. Cool. Let's say you're texturing an apartment building. I've had this recently, and you're going, all right, I'm going to make some bricks, for example. It's one thing just to start painting some bricks, but you've got to sort of foresee in the future, well, what happens in a month's time when they say, oh, I want the color of that brick to be changed or this brick to be changed? You've got to build up your scene in such a way that you can procedurally or very quickly make those changes. And if your scene's not built up for it, you're stuck hand painting that brick. So you've really got to think about anticipate the problems that could arise from what you're doing, and come up with a plan for that right at the start. And it involves, a day or two of just thinking about it and trialing a few things rather than just jumping in, forward without thinking about it. So that's just something I would recommend as well to juniors, because I've come across a lot of problems where people haven't set up their scene, and you get to a problem and there's no way to fix it other than starting again because you haven't set up your stuff properly. And you want to be like, things go wrong all the time, right? So you want to be able to, you've got to trust that that person can go through that problem solving skills and actually say, look, this is what I believe's going wrong. And yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, great advice. Yeah, it's sound advice there, Christina. And the other aspect to that as well, sometimes you have to hand over your work to somebody else because something else has come in, right? And if you haven't set things up properly and you're handing over a mess, then you soon get a reputation for somebody that's just work. Your work is not up to standard, right? So, and you're right. Even at the start of it, it's taking that time to prepare, right? Mentally, before you even touch the asset, it's really taking down notes and figuring it out. Is this the right solution? Is there another solution that could be even better? Optimization, proceduralism, as we know, in texturing world, we try and minimize the amount of hand painting right down until the last 10% of the feedback session, right? You're just trying to get it to a point where everyone's like in agreement with either the color or the level of frequency or the detail or whatever it is, but we're not getting caught up in that hand painting world where all of a sudden we've got to go back and hand paint everything, because it's just it's a nightmare. So cool. Hey, I've got to bounce because I have another meeting, so I'll let you guys carry on and close it out. But yeah, great session. Let's get. Obviously, there's people that are just sidetracked by the Rookie Awards, which is a great thing. But let's reinvent this. Let's keep the feedback sessions going and really get some really cool themes for the weekly drills and get it moving.
Yeah, and then what we can do too, because I got to bounce as well. But like what we'll do is we'll use these sessions. I feel like we'll always do an hour, and whether someone has to pop off or if it's just one of us or all of us, whatever it's going to happen. We'll review the weekly drills as much as we can, or if there's only like a few, review them. And then on top of that, if you want to ask questions or provide feedback in chat or share links or any of that stuff, just use it as well. Kind of think of it as, the drill review, but also just kind of like ask questions to us. Like, hey, once a week you get asked a question. It could be more even just specifically about our journey or what we're doing or things that we're currently working on, or if you're stuck on something, keep it high level. Don't dig too deep because again, we don't have that much time. So it's not like hands-on demo stuff. But hopefully these will start to be things where they can kind of become more of like even if it's just like a pop in just to get inspired by stuff too. Because I feel like sometimes when you're working on your stuff, it's easy to kind of get like sucked down a rabbit hole and not remember like, hey, oh, cool. Like, is the industry really worth it? Yeah, it's awesome. I've been doing it for 20 years. It's great. I'm gonna have fun. It's amazing. So it's, it's hard work, but you're gonna work with some talented people. You're gonna meet talented people along the way, like these two, and it's good times. Generally, everyone I've met who's worked in this industry, I'd say like 95% of them really enjoy what they do, and it's infectious to be around, and it makes it so you don't really feel like you're ever working. Like every single time I've hung out with Alan, we're doing work, but it never feels like it.
Exactly. Good call. On that note, thanks, Jay.
Right.
Christina, thank you very much. And we'll chat next week.
No worries. All right. See you later, everyone.
Ciao, ciao.